Elisa begged me to take her with me. Our parents were against it but wanted Elisa to be happy, so they agreed, and so did I. Elisa and I got a place together. I got a job at the TerraVolta reactor when we got here and had the job for a little over 4 years before my powers emerged. Hannah explained. Jessica listened intently to Hannah's story until she felt a familiar squishy feeling in the seat of her diaper that signaled to her that she'd messed herself. She hoped that she could get out of the room before Hannah noticed, and tried to go back to listening to the story. Elisa became very jealous of my powers and a new career as a hero. She started acting up. She'd break things to get my attention and make messes around the house. It got her some attention, but it wasn't what she wanted. One night she wet her bed and came into my room looking so sad and pathetic that my heart melted when I saw her. I helped her get cleaned up and then cuddled with her till she fell asleep again. I guess it made a profound impact on her because she started having more frequent accidents and began regressing more and more often until she had a whole other persona in Lisa. By that time, her own powers had blossomed, and she could finally join me as a hero, but she still enjoyed Lisa time, so we continued it. Hannah said. I guess that makes sense. She does look adorable, and very happy. She's lucky to have such a loving sister. Jessica said and rose to leave the room. Don't rush off just because you have poopy pants, Hannah said with a smile. How Jessica started. Honey, I'd know a baby with a poopy diaper from a block away. Did you think I wouldn't notice one sitting next to me? Hannah asked. Jessica blushed and hung her head in shame. I'm not a baby, she mumbled to her chest. Hannah put a hand on Jessica's shoulder and raised her chin up with her other hand. But you could be if you wanted to, Hannah said as she gazed into Jessica's bright blue eyes. Jessica felt funny, like she had butterflies in her stomach. I could change that icky diaper for you if you want, Hannah offered. Jessica felt conflicted. Hannah was being so nice to her. She was offering to clean her poop for crying out loud. But at the same time, she felt it wrong to say yes. I'm not sure, she finally replied. Well, I'll tell you what, you ever change your mind about getting a helping hand with your diaper changes, you just holler, Hannah said with a smile. Jessica nodded and shuffled slowly out the door. After the door closed behind her, she turned and raised her hand to knock on it and then let it drop. Maybe some other time, she thought, and turned to head to her room. She stopped and turned back to the door. She sighed and knocked softly. Hannah smiled when she heard the soft rapping upon the door, and smiled wider as she ushered Jessica into the room and helped her down onto the bed. I'll have that icky diaper changed in a jiffy, honey, Hannah said as she gathered the necessary supplies together. The butterflies in Jessica's stomach began to square dance, and she started to feel like she'd made the wrong choice. But as she thought about her current predicament, she felt a rubber teat enter her mouth and looked to see a pacifier emerging from between her lips. There's nothing to worry about, honey, just relax, Hannah cooed as she stroked Jessica's blonde hair aside gently to provide a clear view of her pretty face. Jessica smiled and actually began to suck the pacifier as Hannah went to work on her diaper. Lost in her thoughts, Jessica didn't even notice when Hannah had finished and was helping her sit up to put a pink onesie similar to Lisa's on her. All ready, Hannah proclaimed and picked Jessica up and carried her into Lisa's nursery. Jessica squirmed to be let down when she realized what was happening, but got a sharp swat on her thigh from Hannah that made her immediately settle down and go quietly down into the crib next to Lisa. We'll talk more tomorrow, Hannah whispered and gave Jessica the same goodnight kiss she's given Elisa and left the room again. Jessica looked at herself and then at Elisa, and smiled. This does feel kind of good, she thought, and snuggled up to Elisa in the crib and drifted off to sleep.